we've been talking a lot in the last few days about the acceleration of these lymphatic problems, from the cancers to all the pains to all these issues with the lymph system. And you could really tie a lot of this to the use of antibiotics. When man started using antibiotics, he started killing the messenger for the sake of and ignoring the toxicity. And that's been the medical doctor's most stupid things that they've done, is try to attack the microbes or the bacterium instead of understanding the reason that these guys are present, the culturing medium. So Jenner Pasteur theory of the germ still rings through the halls of the world and still killing people by the hundreds. And the problem here is what its long-term use is. When you kill bacteria in your septic tank, you know what's going to happen. But you don't equate that to the same thing in the human body. When you kill bacteria, you're killing bacteria in a septic system. And so that leaves nothing but the body to back up, just like your septic tank would in your house.
Yeah.
Not good. What's your question? Time antibiotic. Well, you know, antibiotics are going to only suppress the lymph system, it's a systemic kill almost, and that's one of the dangers of antibiotics, is killing lymph node bacteria. This is something you don't want to do, is kill lymph node bacteria, and you certainly don't want another sulfa drug. That's another issue, and it really doesn't speak to the true toxicity of the issue. It speaks to bacterium, but not to the true toxicity. This is why antibiotics are very ineffective at truly dealing with infections, only the microbial activity in an infectious issue. It is true that, you know, when you have a battle going on between the bacteria and the acids, you're going to see that battle, and if you kill the bacteria, the battle goes down, but the acids and the toxicity is still there. And that's the problem. That's why if you have an abscess, you can take antibiotics and the abscess will go down, but actually the infection is still there, the toxicity, the acids are still there, you just killed the bacteria. There's no way antibiotics get rid of acids. Wouldn't that be nice? This is what she was experiencing after taking these antibiotics. She was facing dark circles under the eyes, face swelling, and weight. Well, you knew immediately that antibiotic hurt her kidneys and adrenals. Immediately hurt her kidneys and adrenals. These are totally kidney and adrenal signs right here. And it suppressed your lymph system, dear. And this is what antibiotics do. It suppresses lymph system. Who wants to suppress one's sewer system in their house? No, not me. You never suppress sewage. Who likes to live in a sewer dump? Nobody. If you actually looked at how many people die from the use of antibiotics or the long-term death from the suppression that antibiotics did to them years earlier, you would gasp in shock. Look at Cipro by itself, a well-known killer of humans, yet the FDA considers it candy. Go ahead and pass it out in hospitals like candy. What's happened to man? And I think when people say antibiotics, I think you have to understand that there's more than just an antibacterial action to an antibiotic. All these antibiotics, if you compare a pharmaceutical antibiotic to an herbal antibiotic, it's hugely different. It's almost like herbs know how to selectively get rid of overgrowth, but not disturb the base. Antibiotics have other chemical factors in them that not only broad-range kill, which is what you never want to kill, the bacteria in your lymph nodes, and two, lymphatic suppressant materials. So all antibiotics suppress the lymph system. It isn't when you have a raging action of inflammation and you see the bacterial in it, that's really just essential. That's what nature does. And remember, it's about the terrain, it's about the sewage in the body as opposed to the bacteria that eats the sewage. Antibiotics, and I just said that earlier about Cipro. The biggest problem, I think, happened to man was the use of antibiotics. That started this accelerating the suppression of man's lymph system, especially the sulfa drugs. This is another crime that we've used. We're trying to kill the messenger. There's times where bacteria is having a heyday, absolutely. But in reality, it's all about the culturing medium, not about the bacterium. No one would go to a septic tank and kill the bacteria in their septic tank because their septic tank was backing up and sewage was overflowing in their house. The sewage backing up in the house. Well, you got to expect bacterial action to happen. That's essential to happen in the body when that is. That's what bacteria's job is sewage, breaks down sewage. So you don't kill the messenger for the sake of killing. I bet you if you look back from the advent of antibiotics, the death rate is probably well in the tens of millions of people have died from the use of antibiotics. We think that's good. The herbal antibiotics are a broad range of antibiotics, antivirals, excuse me, antifungals, and the like. So, and they don't kill systemic bacteria. It's like it has a consciousness to kill the overgrowth, but you know it doesn't disturb intestinal flora, but yet it'll kill worms and flu. I mean, it's just great stuff. Medical doctors just don't get it. And the sad thing is they can destroy the bacteria in the lymph nodes by giving the antibiotics, and you need those bacteria to break down acids.
But what's interesting is that for 3 months, he thought it was amazing because it suppressed it.
Which he knew because for the following 6 months my skin was perfectly clear, right? But it shows you, and we've talked about this before, the suppressive nature of antibiotics. They're not just not antibiotics. There's a suppressive nature to those, right? Yeah. All right? So he was perfectly clear till August of 13, and then what happened? I had the worst breakout ever. So what does that tell you? That automatically told you that what they gave you suppressed all these acids, and at a certain point the gate was open and the horses come running out. Yeah, and it's like, See, that's the problem with pharmaceuticals. Oh, we'll take care of that. They knew they couldn't take care of that. I guarantee you this dermatologist knew he couldn't cure the cystic acne. He knew he couldn't do anything about it, or she, and they just pursued the antibiotics anyway, because it never cures anybody. It does the same thing it did to Matt. Oh, look, it cleared it up. Wham! You know, and that's not good. The blowback from that's not good. Right. Let me see here. Okay, so we started out with bronchitis, then it went to laryngitis. Remember, every time you suppress with antibiotics, the next experience is deeper. Simple cold and flu, sinus congestion, goes into bronchitis, goes into pneumonia, doesn't go in. It's just, when you suppress congestion, remember you're constantly creating congestion. And especially if you're eating the same way that's creating the congestion, like with the dairies and the things like that. So everything is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse than it does. Long story short, I went on an antibiotic for a week, and for 2 weeks I was fine. Symptoms came back. Well, this is the thing. Bacteria helps to break these acids down. They don't cause it. So when you kill your bacteria with an antibiotic has suppressive lymphatic actions with it. So, oh look, the symptom went away. I killed the bacteria, no problem. Wham! And it hits you back twice as hard. And you can get yourself in real serious trouble using antibiotics. If you have to use an antibiotic, use a herbal antibiotic like a Parasite M or something like that, which is an antifungal and everything else, because you probably have some fungal problems there too. Notice they give antibiotics for every single thing? Everything, because they don't have anything. That's, if I was a medical doctor, I'd be so frustrated with the lack of tools that I would have to give someone well. We'll just give them antibiotics. I'll give them more antibiotics. I mean, the ridiculousness of that thinking. Just amazing. This is Gin Freedom. I like that, Gin Freedom. Thrush from antibiotic use. How interesting. Do we always see fungus ticking up when you use antibiotics? Just had someone tell me that you will go into septic shock if you don't use antibiotics or medications when you have a fever. And then I explained body's lymphatic system and the role of the kidneys and adrenals. I explained that a fever is a natural healing force taking place to rid the body of excess mucus. She didn't seem to get it. Amazing how the medical community brainwashes these people with their scare tactics. Dano, that's a good one. That's a good one. You're going to septic shock if you don't stop the fever. My God, this person should hand in her degree and probably go find something else to do, probably work on a computer or something.